Hi Auntie.
Hi Aishwarya.
Very, very excited to have you on Samvaadah as my special guest.
Thank you.
Being in the Bay Area for so many years and being one of the most sought after musicians, I have a lot of questions to ask you.
Shoot it.
And I would like to begin with knowing a little bit about your childhood. How did you get into music? And what was that one incident or inspiration that made you choose music as a profession?
Well, I have to go back a few decades without telling you how many. So technically I believe my mother was extremely interested in music and all kinds of arts. And we are 5 siblings and I'm the youngest. So she was very particular that all of us had to learn some art form, and we all grew up in Bihar, Jamshedpur. And she further insisted that it should all be South Indian art forms.
Yeah.
So while one sister learned Bharatanatyam, the other learned, two of us learned Carnatic music, and then another sister. So each one of us did a different thing. But I believe they have said that I started singing very early.
Yeah.
And at the age of 3, I think she put me up for some competition, I believe. Some fancy dress or something, what happens right in the community. I believe I went there and I climbed up the 4 stairs, and I was a chubby kid, and I fell and I rolled back. So she was worried that I'm not going to sing or I'm going to come back crying. But I believe I just wiped myself, tapped myself, walked up and sang, and then I got the first prize.
Wow.
So then she felt that I had the ability to sing.
You became the prodigy then.
I don't know about that, but she did put me in music lessons, and in Jamshedpur we had a Rabindra Bhavan.
Yeah.
It was like based out of Shantiniketan.
Oh, nice.
But every course you did, whether it was dance or music or fine arts or painting or embroidery, was a 10-year long course.
Right.
So she put me there in that, I think when I was in my upper KG.
Yeah. Wow.
So 10 years I did a course there. My foundation was all from Jamshedpur only. But then they realized that Jamshedpur was not enough for me.
Right.
So then I came to Chennai for my 11th and 12th. We were all good children who listened to wherever parents sent, we went.
Yeah.
So I did come to Kalakshetra
Nice.
for my 11th and 12th, and that was my true exposure to, even though I was hearing a lot of concerts in Jamshedpur who would visit by artists, but the being immersed in music, especially being in Kalakshetra.
True.
Rukmini Devi was still around at that time.
Wow.
And that was a fabulous experience. And that's when I realized that maybe I could do something. And Atte, as we called her, she helped me be a part of the Meera production which was being done. And I was so involved with it. And that's when I realized that I could sing professionally, not for dance. Singing professionally as a musician. Then I moved to D.K. Jayaraman after that. And I was doing a lot of concerts. And then,
so the seed for your inspiration was like your move to Kalakshetra, or by then in the 10 years that you were already?
Yes, already. The seed sown by my mother. Full credit to her. And for the interest that the teachers showed me by really giving me a solid foundation.
And so did you begin with learning Carnatic and Hindustani then?
No, Hindustani.
It was only
Absolutely, only Carnatic. Hardcore. But we heard all kinds of music, right? One of my sisters used to do Rabindra Sangeet.
Nice.
So we were exposed to all the music genres. But I also learned Veena. We had a Veena, a Tata would come home and teach me. So,
And this is apart from all your academics that you're also pursuing on the side.
Yes.
Amazing. And what did you then do your graduation in? Like, if I may ask you that.
You may. I came to Kalakshetra as a science major for 11th and 12th. It was a CBSE thing. And then I came to Chennai, and the only college, I wanted a degree though. So the only college which was offering a degree, undergrad in music, was Queen Mary's. So I joined a little late over there because semester had already started, right? So I joined there, I did my undergrad in music. Then I went to do my grad school in University of Madras.
Nice.
And after that, I did join the MPhil, but then they wanted me to go into academics and teach in various. They actually, send you to post you to different universities. But I didn't want to do that because by then my performing professional career had already picked up pretty well. So I didn't finish my dissertation, but I just ended up,
So you
to
did your
perform.
BA, MA, everything in music.
Yes, completely in music.
And your first, and when you started performing, and by then you were already in the Chennai season. Performing.
Yes, especially since I was under D.K. Jayaraman sir, and after he passed away under Nanganallu Ramanathan. So yeah, I was already performing in the sub-senior level, if I may say.
Amazing. Do you remember your first season concert? Or like the
Yes,
first time?
first kutcheri I remember was in Sai Baba Kovil, in Mylapore.
Mylapore Sai Baba Kovil.
Mylapore Sai Baba Kovil. And you know who my pakwadins were? S. Vardarajan, who plays for Sanjay.
Yeah.
He was a young kid, he was in his middle school, I think. He played, and then my mridangam was Tanjavur Muruga Bhupati. So it was in Sai Baba Kovil, and I mean, in those days there was no such thing as an arangetram and all that, right?
Yeah.
1.5 hour kacheri at Sai Baba temple, and that was it.
And what did you feel? How did you feel after?
Oh yeah, I was scared.
Yeah.
It was scary because even though it was temple and I was not used to all those bells ringing and all that, right? So it was a different experience.
You, when you look back, what are some of the philosophies that you have taken up from your gurus? Like, what are from, especially from D.K. Jayaraman sir?
Absolutely fabulous question. Right from my first guru, my very first guru was Malati Lakshman in Jamshedpur.
Yeah.
The fact that I was grilled with my foundation without being questioned for a few years. I don't even want to mention the number of years that we worked on
just
founding. All the varisais and just to get a solid foundation, you know.
Yes.
That is something I really believe in, and I still follow that when I'm teaching.
Right.
So the philosophy I believe is only if you have a super strong foundation can I build a skyscraper on top.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so even if you see the tip of the iceberg, but the
root
depth is there. The
Yes.
depth has to be there. With that foundation, anybody can do any galata on top.
Correct.
But so I believe in that, and that's something I learned. I also learned the importance of vak shuddhi, pronunciation, and clarity, and respect towards the language that I'm singing in. That's something all my teachers, whether it was Malati Lakshman or whether it was D.K. Jayaraman sir or Nanganallu Ramanathan sir or my college professors, you know, they all have insisted that you have to be respectful towards the language, because it is somebody's mother tongue.
Correct.
Right? And we wouldn't like our mother tongue to be butchered, right? So
for sure.
And I have loved languages.
Yeah.
So for me, it served as a blessing.
Nice.
That I love to make sure that I'm pronouncing the right way, at least understand the meaning, lyrical meaning, and Shruti Shuddham and all that. And no rush in finishing a composition was another philosophy I have learned. You learn it, take your time, perfect it.
Nice.
Don't be in a rush to present it. And no performance-oriented learning. That is something they insisted.
I was just going to ask you that, because especially for today's generation of not only teachers but even students, the goal is always, okay, when am I next performing?
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification.
Correct.
And keeping that semblance from the past, of trying to say that, hey, no, how do you run your school and how do you manage your students with that?
So as a result, I do not have a huge flock of students, because I'd rather have the serious ones with me.
For sure.
And you can judge, right, when they come, like the first question being, when can they go for this competition, when can they perform here? So immediately I tell them very nicely, like, all that is there, but unfortunately that's not the philosophy we believe in.
Right.
So performances come along, performances help you, but that should not be the goal. The goal should be to understand the art form and to make it your core, right? Then it comes off and automatically it becomes a thing of enjoyment for you and for the listener. So I always, and I personally don't send my kids to competitions at all. It's such a subjective thing,
Absolutely.
So
very subjective.
Yeah,
to that moment, to that time.
Exactly, and to that person who's listening to you, their worry might be different, their padandaram might be different, and they are going to be. That doesn't mean that the other padandaram is wrong or right. So, and I think kids nowadays are more sensitive than what I was or my generation was. So if they don't win a prize, they just feel that that's the end of it and it's not their cup of tea.
Correct. Well, I think you nailed it, because to enjoy a performance or to even like understand the art form, you need to understand the foundations of it.
Exactly.
As you probably said, like the more you are able to absorb yourself in it, then you are able to value it more, and then it comes out. Like I'm always amazed at the way you own everything you sing, whether it is for an arangetram or whether it is for a production. There is no, like, I can never see no involvement from Asha Auntie's music. Like,
That's something I would again credit my teachers, because they would always say, நீ எதுக்கு அங்க உட்கார்ந்திருக்கேங்கற அந்த ஒரு இருக்கணும்.
Correct.
And the respect for the art form that you are practicing or whatever you are practicing.
Right.
If you have been given that position on a stage and there are people there, you have to have that amount of the bhakti towards that. And Suti Vatara enna irukku is not your problem. Nee pandrathu olunga pannu. So there are so many occasions where we are all put in a spot, right? Where the team might not be in sync or the other side. But you have a job there. Do that properly.
Amazing, Auntie. So well said. And that is one thing I always feel inspired whenever I hear you, whether it is through the songs that I have learned or when I watch you live. You just like take us to a completely different experience.
I enjoy myself on stage. So that's something I think every artist should do. If you start enjoying whatever you're doing, and for that, as you say, grounding and thoroughness has to be there. Right? If I'm doubtful and I'm unsure, I'm not going to have fun on stage, and I'm going to be so scared, and it's going to reflect in what I'm bringing out, and that's going to in turn reflect on the audience.
Absolutely. I'm just going to take a step back and talk to you about you had a beautiful flourishing career in Chennai as a seasoned artist.
Yes.
And then comes family life, marital life. Let's talk a little bit about how you changed course. Like when you did you come here? Did you land in the Bay Area first? Like
straight up.
I
haven't been anywhere else.
Chennai to California.
So I got married in 92. And till then, by then I was already established both as a solo Carnatic vocalist and also singing for dance. When Amma Appa started looking, I was saying that I'm not leaving Chennai.
Right.
That was one of the conditions. My mother-in-law is such a well-known, respected dance guru, right? Nanganaki Jayaraman, and so it was an arranged marriage. Then there is destiny. So, but when I met Ramesh, I said, okay, I mean, you know, there is some kind of vibe, frequency or whatever it is, and then got married and came here. Of course, I knew it was not going to be the same. I had to start from scratch. And even though I had traveled abroad in 1990 and 88 with Valli and ICCR for a kutcheris and dance tour. It was a combination. It would be a 3-day festival. One day I would do Pattu Kacheri, one day I would accompany her for dance. So government would prefer somebody who did both. So apdi vandirken, but I never thought that I would come and settle here. So it was a big change for me. But thanks to the support I got from Ramesh and of course Indu and Ganesh were already here. They were here. So it really helped. And I had already met Maithili way before, because my sister was Indra Rajan's student.
Oh, interesting.
So Vaijayanti Ramaswamy, Maithili's senior most student, she had come to Chennai and Indra Ma was doing Nattu Angam and I sang. So that's how I met Usha Ramaswamy. I don't know if you know Usha Ramaswamy here. So I met them and then I knew Maithili. So when I came here, I knew Indu was already there as family, but I also knew Maithili.
That's amazing. So I'm just going to step back. When you got married into another stalwart family, right? What was did you feel instantly comfortable because you could talk the same thing?
Absolutely. Especially with my mother-in-law, I would say. And she is an Ashtavadani, so she would do 8 forms of arts and she is a composer herself, Vainika, singer and everything. So it was a nice, I would say that was the connection between Amma and me. Was music was a big binding force.
What was your typical day look like?
Constantly there's music and dance in the house, right? Some classes continuous going to go. Amma edavadhu oru pudu ஒரு ப்ரொடக்ஷன் ஏதாவது பண்ணணும்னா டியூன் போட்டு கொடும்பா. ஸோ we will sit and then we'll sit together and ஏதாவது மணங்கிட்டே இருப்பாம்மா. And my Veena was there, so she was upset that I was not playing enough. So she was more strict with me as far as music is concerned than my own mother, I would say. So the music really helped us bond a lot. And I think my father-in-law was a fabulous support to my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
My father-in-law and I bonded over food.
Oh.
Yeah, big time foodie.
Big time.
And I think the brothers, Ramesh and Ganesh, have seen how supportive their father
and
has been.
That seems...
For them, it was nothing different that they had to do, right?
Right.
Which is extremely important, especially in an artist's life. Right?
Absolutely.
We compromise with family time, with weekends and evenings, which is
prime
time. But they have always seen, they didn't know any other way. They've always seen Appa being so supportive in the house.
And Amma being busy all the time.
So they've seen, that really helped settle down here. And it took me a while because I had to start from scratch. Start from zero. And,
so what did you start first over here? Did you start with music, singing for people, or did you start with classes?
Kutcheris. I had to present myself, right?
Yeah.
It's like coming out kind of thing.
Chilean.
Exactly. Yeah. So I did it in Kabari. And the Kalaka, it was only Kabari theatre.
Oh my God, Kapali theatre.
So I did a concert which was, we invited everybody who knew and to say that, hello, I've arrived here. Please let me know. I mean, I just had to introduce myself to the community.
Yeah.
And that was a good start.
The community was also very
much smaller and tighter.
Close-knit.
Absolutely. So 1992, I came in July and my concert was in November.
92.
Yeah, 92 and I did my concert, and after that, my classes started.
Yeah.
And then I sang a show for Hindu, and then I also started singing for my kids.
Yeah.
And there was a music scholar by the name of T.S. Parthasarathi, and he was a good friend of DKJ, and also he was a research scholar, and all the artists, whether they were musicians or dancers, would go to him for research help. Alarmail Valli had reached out to him for a singer. She wanted another singer because Prema Ramurthy was singing, but then it's always nice to have somebody else who can, in case of, necessary. So TSP Maha reached out to Jayaraman sir and said, Asha Ramesh, why don't you have her sing? But sir was absolutely against singing for dance. He said, no, dance kala venda, nanna vandundirka, venda. But then he said, Alarmail Valli is a good Valli, and all her padams and jalis and all her repertoire comes from Vrinda Mukta and from
deeply
and so Padanallur Valli. So he said, there will be no dilution of Bhadandaram. Nalla vadiya irukum. So hesitate pannade Jayaraman, just send her. So with that blessing and very skeptical, he said, Seri poi paadu, he said, but I did go, but I'm telling you. So the first person I started singing for was for this diva who was up there. I'm a college, 21-year-old, whatever, and it was a learning experience for me. So that's how I started singing for dance.
Right.
And one Krishnagana Sabha concert I'll never forget. DKJ sir didn't tell me he was coming. For Valli I was singing, and he at the end of the program she did Mohamana by the way.
Nice.
So he came, I was shocked to see sir in a dance performance. And he said, oh, Nana the very. That's all he said.
Oh, wow.
I still get goosebumps when I think of it. So, he was finally, he became supportive of me singing, accompanying dance, because he knew that I was not in a body which was kind of
dilute.
Yeah, it was very strong. And Valli Akka and her mother also believed a lot in deep-rooted, understanding of music and dance.
Sure.
So it helped me singing for dance. That was how I started, and it really helped me improve my involvement with even Carnatic music. I felt. I started delving deeper into the meaning.
Right.
Right? I mean, basic puriyu.
Yeah.
Right? And then I realized that wow, there is so much more to the lyrics that I'm singing.
Yeah.
So primarily, I would do kutcheris only, seasonal especially. But clash agam irundaduna akkakku I would also sing. Then gradually started singing dance for Anita Preeta Ratnam, Madhavika, Lakshmi Vishwanathan. Adella seniors.
Seniors.
Yeah.
But that's I think they were in their field or in their artistic endeavors, they were like such stalwarts, and the learning must have been tremendous with each of these contemporary and traditional.
And they were also very strong.
Correct.
About what kind of music
they wanted.
They wanted
exactly.
hardcore, traditional, classical.
Musical knowledge was so intense in them.
Like Anita Preeta rehearsal Krishna okkandirupparu. So you can't do like a light-hearted Tori Bhairavi ella mudiyadu. Avaru okkandirupparu. I was there when he composed the Panthodali Varma.
Wow.
So they were all like really senior artists of every. So it was a very good learning experience.
Let's talk a little bit about your association with Abhinaya Dance Company.
Absolutely.
I think now that you're saying probably how many years has it been?
32 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the 32 years, I think both of you have set a very dynamic precedence for product.
For
work.
More her.
Right?
She's been here more than a decade before me, right? So,
yeah. Talk to me about working with Maitli Auntie and especially composing music for all her productions, because I believe right from the first time you knew
Gandhi.
You've
Gandhi
been
was when we
associated
started.
with. Gandhi was
my first. So, I mean, of course, at that time, her school was like 10, 12 years old. So the students were just coming up to a standard where you can start doing productions.
Right.
Yeah, you need that strength from the students.
Absolutely.
There's so much I can tell about Maitli and Abhinaya. Abhinaya has been a big part of my dance career here in the Bay Area, especially as far as composing music that goes. And so Maitli, I've known her since 92, but 93, late 92 is when we started working, and it was arangetrams and things like that.
Yeah.
And it was in 93 that she came up with this idea of Gandhi,
right,
the Mahatma. And I was appalled because Gandhi is such a subject where there is no lyrical support whatsoever.
True.
We only know his story in a prose form.
Yeah.
And we know of things that he likes, of songs that he likes.
And it's pretty fresh, right? Like it's not like historical.
Exactly. So, that's what அவரை பத்தி ஒரு பாட்டுன்னு ஒண்ணும் கிடையாது, லிரிக்ஸ்னு கிடையாது, போயட்ரின்னு கிடையாது, ஒண்ணும் கிடையாது. You only have books. Oh, this is Gandhi's life history.
True.
And the movie had come. So that's about it, right? So you only knew of his story, but there was no lyrical support.
Absolutely.
To transform to a dance.
Yeah.
Theatre is okay, you can write dialogues.
Yes.
But how do you bring it to a dance? So credit to Maitli for research, the amount of material which is still there in 32 years that I've seen Maitli. If she takes all these very random and very I forget the word. It's like, it's not a common topic, right? She take all these topics and she does so much research, and there is so much material. So for me, the challenge, and I'm so thankful that she trusted me and she started me off on this journey. Yeah. Even though I had composed music for Kuti Shlokams thanks to my mother's push, in India. Like in the Ashtakam, I would tune, but not like a whole production.
Yeah.
This Gandhi was a challenge because we had no lyrical support, but we had to tell the story.
Right.
So we had to use just music and all forms of music. I have used Alapane, I have used Tanam, and there is so much. For those who have seen Gandhi, I think it's I keep telling you, it's one of Maitli's the best. One of the best.
100%.
And we only used one or two songs which Gandhiji liked, like Vaishnav Chanato and Mandiri Hai Hamara. Those are songs which Gandhiji loved. So we used those songs, but we told his whole story through music. And that is something I really enjoyed. That was my first time. And after that, every year she's been whipping up a production after the other, and it's always fun because she does so much of the work, making it easier for me as a composer because she has the storyboard written. Right? So she has all the material needed, research material, whether it is in Sanskrit or whatever language. She will go everywhere, and the amount of reading she does is just amazing.
She's amazing, that is true.
So I have learned from her so much that you need to have your database, like a big database to do anything.
Now she'll take notes and she will
and organize. I've seen her, like she has all these files and these folders, and she'll pull out from that. And even her Saturn, that's another production that I wish she does it again. And I also got to collaborate, thanks to Maithili, with various genres of music.
True.
Right? Whether it was taiko, or whether it was a Balinese musicians, or even for Cesar Chavez when he did.
Oh yeah, the Mexican
the musicians. So we've had our. I just love working on all her projects. So.
That's amazing. Let's talk about Draupadi, because that's the next upcoming project of Abhinaya Dance Company. And I know that you have like composed all of the music for it, and I want to talk to you about, as a composer, when you get into composing, what are some of the aspects that you start focusing on? And for Draupadi, what did you focus on? Because Draupadi is, especially for Draupadi, because Draupadi is a subject that's very common. So many of them have done multiple musical productions.
True.
And sometimes you also, like, the story is not
told
really
the
different.
Same way.
Yeah, but I know that for our Abhinaya Dance Company's Draupadi, we are definitely doing a very different outlook on Draupadi. So as a composer, I would like to know, how did you get into composing?
So when Maithili told me about, she said she wants to do Draupadi, because I'm sure you know the inspiration was her brother's book, right?
Yeah.
So I was saying, Draupadi? She said, yeah, I want to say, but from her perspective, whatever scenes we see, right, based in relationship with Draupadi, we've always seen from either the Pandavas' viewpoint or from the viewer's viewpoint. Right? Yeah. So she said, no, I want to show what she is from her perspective. How did she feel in each of those situations? So that's the story I want to say, which nobody has talked about.
Very true.
Right? Yeah. So that was great. And for me, the job was so much easy because she had a beautiful story written, a perfect prose storyboard that she had. And of course, she was getting the lyrics written by Arjun in Bangalore. So when she started getting those lyrics, we would both sit with it to see how, sometimes the lyrics need a little tweaking. Fortunately, if the lyricist is still working with you simultaneously, then it's easier for us to request them to tweak it here and there. So it was very helpful in that way that we were going back and forth. We had to first put she had to make sure that it was expressing what she wanted, because when the language changes and the grammar changes, it sometimes makes it very different.
Very true.
So we were like wondering, okay, in fact she and I would be sitting to compose the music, and I would sit with her and I'll say, it's like, this word sounds different. Then both of us will say, what if you put it this way? And then we'll say, we cannot take that call. We have to ask Arjun and make sure that grammatically it's correct to do it. So fortunately we were able to do that despite the India-US time difference. So there was those little lags here and there, time lags were happening, and then she was very clear because she knew where she wanted a jati and where we wanted a swaram. Because when we wanted to elaborate, sometimes language also becomes a hindrance.
True, especially when you are very stuck on only using one particular language.
Right. Not just that, that one line might be a gist of that storyline that you are depicting. So sometimes you have to give that little bit of freedom. So at that point, I would bring in some musicality to it. Step the lyric back a little and bring in the music forward, right? When you have to expand on the stories. If this line is just saying that he pulled her sari, but what happened before, how is she reacting? So I cannot say he pulled her sari 25 times. So then we have to think of what can I bring there musically to highlight that action that the dancer is doing. That's why he has choreographed at that point, right? True. And I'm sure she choreographs based on the capacity, ability, and of the dancers who are playing that role. Sometimes you have to tweak all that, right? And then, as far as my work goes, I would sit with her and we would go scene after scene or verse after verse, and then try to see how much. Then we would realize, this whole scene becomes too long. We have to cut short. So what can we reduce? And also she would come with suggestions, and then we would see, does it sound nice to the ear? How does it sound? And it takes a lot of work back and forth.
Do you feel time plays a very very stifling role in productions, especially when you're like limited to
Absolutely.
you know, or 90-minute production like that.
It does. But then also, I like to keep in mind, like I always off late, I've been seeing that it does not make sense to go more than 90 minutes or even 100 for that matter, because, you know, first of all, I don't like intermissions.
Right.
And that's why, as a reason, and you also have to understand that the audience has to have the bandwidth to take in, especially if it's an abstract theme and they are not familiar with this material.
Yeah.
You don't want to overload that they tune out.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, so that way it's not stifling, I would say.
Yeah.
But the pressure, time crunch happens when we record a project.
Right. Yeah.
When it is live, it's different. You don't do rehearsals, tapo righto, it happens on stage and it's done.
Very true.
But when you record, we become very nitpicky.
Yeah.
Of this one beat was off, or this one note was flat or sharp or whatever, and maybe the voice was scratchy over there, I need to repeat. So we become nitpicky, and then at the same time to remember, oh God, it's studio time.
Yeah.
So you cannot be wasting studio time.
Yeah.
You know, and be respectful of the recording engineer's hearing also.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
what is your excitement about for the show?
Draupadi's show, I think, first of all, it's about a woman, so I'm all excited about that. Yeah. And I also like the tagline that it is an unsung warrior.
Yes.
Which every woman is.
Absolutely.
Which every woman is an unsung warrior.
Yes.
So beautiful. And I like the fact that this side of the story, from Draupadi's eyes, has not been told. Mm-hmm. So I really want to see what people take out of it after watching the show. Yeah. And of course, choreography and production wise, Abhinaya is known for their fabulous quality, there is no doubt about it. And in this, musically, I think we have kind of used a lot of Hindustani and Carnatic done, and there's a lot, it's rhythm heavy. Yeah. Because I think the warriorness of Draupadi is brought out by the rhythmic next, because you usually don't use too much rhythm for a woman, but in this it's pretty rhythm heavy, and I'm so excited that we have a rhythm artist here. Asha is here, who's joined, and it's great. And Amit's first time for the recording. This is his first time he's recording a project.
Amazing.
He's played so much, and of course Ashwin and Vikram are veterans.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it because it's slightly shorter. Mm-hmm. And it's really potent. Yeah. So I really want to see how people relate to it.
Most of it.
Yes.
If you have I just want to ask you if you have any regrets or like anything that in music that you wish that you had pursued. Is there anything that is there, or is there like a dream project that you want to continue pursuing in your life? Is there something that is like still
regret in a cholana? I mean, I used to be 100% concert musician versus a dance musician. It's reversed here. So I would love to do concerts where I'm not that I don't enjoy, because I try to bring in the concert experience when I'm singing and dance.
We all enjoy your dance பார்க்கறதே உங்களை பார்க்கறதே அங்க உட்கார்ந்து இருப்போம் பட் ஆனா அங்க தான் வந்து டான்ஸ் நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு, especially with you like orchestrating everybody, we'll be looking at you and
but I mean, of course, what I feel, not a regret, but the thing that I wish I can sing more kritis. You know, I have opportunities to sing those beautiful kritis and all that. And dream project would be bring out more compositions which are not heavily bhakti. That is my thing, where I want to use music to make it more
non-religious.
Not just non-religious, to be about everything. It can be about nature, it can be about camera, whatever, right? Why if the Keats poem is appreciated, why not? Why not we use Carnatic music to reach out to? And also, one thing I've always liked to do is like how, you know, to make it more approachable and enjoyable even to non-Tamil speaking people.
True.
So, because how many of us go to a Hindustani concert?
Right?
And the reverse doesn't happen. So I think the language, we have to do something
to break that barrier
to break that. And that's been. And I also like to work on projects from my school where we talk about, we use very unique topics. Like in 2017, we did a show called Varna Janam, which talked about the LGBTQ community and through Carnatic music. It was just a kutcheri with my students, but talking on relevant present day topics. So these are all my dream projects, if I may say.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Auntie.
My
I know
pleasure.
I spent a lot of time talking to you, and I loved every bit of it.
My pleasure.
Just I'm going to ask you quick 5 questions.
Woo, okay.
These are called as hot seat questions.
Hot seat.
It's
already hot.
Go to food.
Chaat.
Amazing. Any particular chart in that?
Pani puri.
Your how many ragams have you used in Draupadi?
Ooh, that's it. Let me say 35.
Whoa.
Somebody's going to count? I don't know.
நான் சும்மா கவுண்ட் பண்றேன்.
There you go. Let me know how close I was.
What is your favorite activity other than singing? What do you do for taking your mind off singing?
I love going for havocs and cooking.
Your favorite dish?
To make or
to make? To make.
To make many. Oh yeah, we love all cuisines, so I love cooking.
You mentioned you're a foodie.
I'm a foodie.
What is your go-to cuisine?
Asian. Much to my husband's thing. When you cake and that will be Asian food. Yeah, I love it. Especially Desi Chinese is my favorite.
Oh, nice. Amazing. Like one dream city where I want to have a concert in this city.
You know, there is this beautiful...
Or venue. City in a broader venue.
Yeah, I am not this person who will go to all these fancy big venues in You know, I would love to sing in Rajasthan. There is this little village called Ravla Narlai. They have this beautiful temple made of marble. It is about 200 years old. And there is one hall where the acoustics is brilliant. So I went there and I was just humming something and I was like, wow. And I sang one whole song there. I would love to do a concert there in the evening time, sunset time with the natural light. That would be a dream.
Oh, beautiful.
I don't care how many people show up, but I want to go sing there. That doesn't matter. Audience, no, it doesn't matter.
Amazing. Tea or coffee?
Actually, it's a crazy question because till 8 months ago I was only tea.
Oh.
And now I've almost become only coffee. I exactly.
Why did you do this?
No. I used
no
to.
I
did Panti Maro. 32 years ago, I became a Tamram, I guess. I don't know. No, but I would never drink coffee. But in these days, I like the espresso, triple shot, strong coffee now.
Amazing.
Enjoyed.
California has changed you.
Exactly.
You know, a pet name that you are called by your teachers or by your in-laws or your parents.
My dad used to call me Kunji. That's about it. Yeah.
Illana Asha.
But my vector pair is Rajeshwari.
Oh.
So, enga amma ku kovam vandaduna Rajeshwari. With that end stretched, so you know that I was in trouble.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Auntie.
Thank you.
I loved having this chit chat with you.
It's a pleasure,
Thank you for
Aishwarya.
being on Samvaadah.